Hey everyone, it's Nicole Spohr here today for Spellbinders with 10 cards created with the October 2019 Spellbinders Card Kit of the Month. I am so excited to be sharing with you my 10 cards featuring this awesome kit. These are all holiday themed cards. I love the colors, blues and teals and purples and grays. Just very, very pretty. There's even some great neutrals, some silver accents. Really excited about this kit, and these are probably some of my favorite cards that I've created with a card kit like this. Let's go ahead and open up the kit first, and I'm going to show you everything you get in the October kit. I'm opening that up, and you get excuse me, an instruction sheet showing you kind of how to put together some of the components. Then there are some dies. These are the exclusive dies that come in the October kit. There's some sentiments and poinsettias and greenery. You get adhesive. You're also getting 10 cards and envelopes, a 6x6 paper pad. Love the patterns. These are stunning. So beautiful. I'm going to use a lot of these in my cards today. Some awesome stickers. I'm using a ton of those little sentiment phrase stickers. I'm using one of the dimensional stickers as well. There's some gemstones. I think I used almost every gemstone in there. A great stamp set, cardstock, including a foiled cardstock sheet, and then of course the die cut shapes. And the die cut shapes tend to be the focal point many times of the cards I create, simply because you get so many of them and they are absolutely amazing. So I'm just laying out all of the die cut shapes, kind of getting a feel for what's included in the kit, seeing what I'm drawn to, what I think what might go together, what I might want to group together for different cards and things like that. I always start with this step first. Many of my cards today actually are going to feature a combination of things. So they're not going to be just die cuts or just the custom die cuts, like creating your own die cuts from the kit, or just stickers. Everything uses a combination of different elements for the most part. There might be one or two that are primarily the pre-made die cuts, but I really tried to implement a lot of different things into my cards here today. So they'll have die cuts. They all feature pattern paper. I absolutely adore the 6x6 pattern paper in the October kit. So they're all going to feature a pattern paper. Then they're going to have either pre-made die cuts like you see here, custom die cuts, a combination of the two. For the most part, I used a combination. Stickers, the gemstones, all of the little things like that. So I really love the kit and felt like combining the elements is what's giving such beautiful results for these cards here today. We're going to start with the first 3 cards. In fact, we're going to start with the owl card first. This was the first card I created. And I trimmed down kind of that purple floral tone-on-tone background paper to, I believe, 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And then I flipped it over and I'm scoring about 1/4 of an inch in on all 4 sides. It's going to give a really subtle little scored line all the way around the border of the card. You don't want to press super hard because this is pretty lightweight pattern paper and you don't want to tear it on the front. Then I'm going to take my pattern paper and pop that in place right there on one of the cards from the kit. The owl is the focal point of this design. So we are going to want to pop up our owl with foam adhesive and then the Jingle All the Way sentiment right underneath that. Those 2 elements are going to be popped up, and then we're going to add some other little twigs and branches and little berries and all of that stuff right there. I pulled out anything that was in that purple gray color combination. That's really kind of the direction this card took. And then we want to put our owl down first, as I mentioned. And then we can kind of tuck everything around him. I'm using some foam adhesive strips, and we're going to pop those there just long enough for the sentiment banner, and then pop that in place right below the owl. In addition to this, I want to also use one of the sticker phrases. I mentioned a minute ago when I did the unboxing that I absolutely loved the sticker phrases this month. And I like the size, I like the font, all of the things. They're absolutely fantastic. And so I will add that here in a bit too. But we want to add little sprigs and things all around the owl to give it a little bit more character. And I've kind of got these grayish purple long branches, the silver glittery branches with the purple berries. Love those. We're going to figure out our placement for all of that. And I really just played around with it first. So I'm going to play around, kind of figure out how I want it to go. And then these are all going to be attached with some liquid adhesive. I'll use a little Lawn Fawn glue tube liquid adhesive to pop these in place all around my owl design. And I really thought I would trim down this other one and add it, but I ended up deciding not to. I felt like they were it was a little too much. And so offset the one branch over on the right side with a little bit fuller one over on the left. And then we're going to add two of the sprigs with the silver twigs with the purple berries on the left side and one on the right. And here I'm just attaching those to my card. I find that layering the elements gives the most effective look, especially with these pre-made die cuts like this. How cute are those little branches there? I really love those. One of the great things about a lot of the die cuts in this month's kit is that they've got that glitter look to them. So the owl has lots of glitter accents from his stocking cap to around his eyes and then to his belly. The branches have glitter on them. And then the sticker actually has a foiled Celebrate the Season greeting. These are all foiled stickers. So there's foiled and glittered accents in the kit this month, and I love the combination. Really, really pretty. Now you could attach those sticker strips directly to your card, but I like to add them with foam adhesive. With a card kit like this that features a lot of pre-made elements, I find that one of the most effective things that I can do to give a little interest to so many pre-made items is attach them with foam adhesive. So you'll see the owl and the sentiments were added with foam adhesive here. The final thing we're going to do is take some of the little gemstones included in the kit and kind of pop these all over the card for little touches of sparkle. I know I mentioned it in the unboxing, but I think I used almost every gemstone. There were only a handful left when I was finished with my 10 cards. I loved the gemstones this month. There's the teeny tiny, which is always my favorite. Kind of a great standard, which is still tiny and another one of my favorite sizes. And then a little bit bigger. And these just all work really well with all of the different elements in the card kit this month and are a really great addition. So something I will use a lot of times when there aren't gemstones is I will take Nuvo crystal drops and kind of create my own droplets. So it's really, really nice that these gemstones are included in the kit this month, and there's no extra little droplets needed. I trimmed off anything hanging off the edges, and then we'll just grab the coordinating envelope, because in addition to the 10 cards that come in the kit, there's 10 envelopes. There are some great sticker seals also in this month's kit. I'm going to trim those apart, pop them in the envelope so I have them on hand, and those can be used on the envelope after you have written out your card, popped it in the envelope, and then you can put these really pretty foiled seals on the back. For our next card, we're going to create a winter scene with the deer. The deer was, both of the deer styles really popped out at me when I first opened up the kit, as well as the trees. And they just really naturally looked like it all went together. I took this pattern paper from the kit and trimmed it to 5 1/4 by 4 inches and placed it on one of the white card bases. This is going to be a landscape style card. Then we're simply going to attach our deer and one of the trees directly to the scene. The greenery around the edges of the pattern paper really lend itself well to framing up the scene that we're going to create on this card. So this is a scene created from pre-made die cuts. Really exciting. Now that deer is the focal point, so that needs to be figured out first, and then we will glue that in place as I mentioned, and glue one of the trees down. Our other 2 trees we will attach with foam adhesive. That's again where a little bit of that depth and dimension comes. This card features 8 of the die cuts from the die cut pack. Our last card, let me see how many it had. It had 7. So right there, we have already used 15 die cuts from the pack, and that doesn't even touch how many are left. Even when I am done with my 10 cards today, I have loads of pre-made die cuts and other pieces from the kit. Lots of sticker phrases, the star sticker borders. I didn't even touch those, I don't think. Lots and lots of pattern paper. So you really can make many more than 10 cards. I always like to just share at least 10 card examples with the kit to hopefully jumpstart your creativity. I'm going to attach this banner also with foam adhesive. It says Happy Holidays. And then I played around with several different options. I originally thought maybe I would use a sticker phrase down there below the Happy Holidays banner, but none of those things were really working. I felt like it was too heavy. I wanted something a little lighter. So I'm actually going to take a stamp phrase from the stamp set included in the kit, stamp that right below the banner using a clear embossing ink, and heat emboss with silver embossing powder to match the silver glitter accents on my card. I've also attached lots of gemstones around the sky of my card for kind of that look of sparkly falling snow. For my next card, I'm also using that same kind of foliage looking pattern paper. It's kind of a purplish gray, I guess I would call it. It's probably my favorite pattern paper from the pattern paper kit. I really love it. And this time we're going to flip it the other way, and we're going to use all of the custom die cuts from the kit this month to create our own beautiful florals. So we're going to have a nice grouping down here in the bottom right corner, and then a little bit smaller grouping in the upper left, with our Merry Christmas die cut from the silver foil cardstock included in the kit right there in the middle, and a sticker phrase sentiment popped up with foam adhesive right below our die cut sentiment. Probably one of my all-time favorite looks, whether I'm using pre-made die cuts or creating my own or using stamps or dies, is to have a script sentiment and then have a phrase in a strip popped up underneath with foam adhesive. I absolutely love this look. I think it really fills in beautifully. Again, the way this pattern paper is created, it's a natural place or has a natural placement for sentiments or a scene like the last card we created. It's just really perfect for that look. I went with non-traditional with purple, or I guess lavender, white and gray poinsettias, and then silver branches and leaves. I like how this looked. It ties in nicely. We're using that purple sentiment phrase, so everything ties together. Then we're going to use some of those gemstones, which they have the bluish tint to them, but I just absolutely love them, and I think they work really well here. We're going to use those in the center of our poinsettias, and then even scatter a few throughout. This actually was the last card I created. I know I've put it up here early in the video. I kind of tried to group my cards in the video by color more than the exact order I created them. So you're going to see this little bit of gemstones on my gemstone sheet. As I was mentioning earlier, this is all I end up with at the end. After I have added all the rest of my gemstones to this card, I hardly had any left. That's how many of these I used. I think I used some, maybe if not every card almost. I think there's at least one that I didn't, but I think probably everything else I used those gemstones on. This also ended up being a favorite card design. I probably should stop saying that because this is one of those months where I felt like I really loved all of the cards. Whether a lot more work went into them, a lot of die cutting like this, custom die cutting, or whether they were made with pre-mades. So just super, super fun. Let's do our hanging ornament card next. This was a really simple design. And I took ornaments, and remember there's 2 of each die cut, so you could potentially create 2 of each style. I did want to mention that really quick. That would make this even quicker and easier. If you have another 10 cards for a lot of these, you could actually create duplicates. But I decided to grab some string from my stash. I really challenged myself to try to stay within the limits of only what came in the card kit, and for the most part I was successful. This was one place where I did grab something from my stash with the silver string, and that's because I wanted to hang the ornaments from the top of my pattern paper. So I've got this beautiful greenery pattern paper. We're going to hang our purple and kind of teal and green ornaments on the front of it. And how I did this was I just took and threaded that through the tops of each ornament, and then I'm going to secure those to the back of this panel with foam adhesive. This is one of my favorite ways to hide string that I've wrapped around a panel. I don't do this a ton because it does add quite a bit of bulk, although this is not as much bulk as some cards. But this is a great way to secure it without having to add lots of different tape. And by popping the panel up with foam adhesive, you're not going to have that lumpy, bumpy kind of look if you would just adhere the pattern paper directly to the card. So this disguises the fact that we're hiding the string back behind the panel. And I'm going to just line those up and then attach those on the back. And then we're going to completely fill the back of this panel with foam adhesive and pop the whole panel up on our card base. This pattern paper was trimmed to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So that's going to give us about a 1/4 of an inch white border all the way around. In addition to the foam adhesive to attach our pattern paper to our card, we are also going to attach the ornaments to the background with foam adhesive. Again, it pops it off of a busy pattern paper. This definitely by far was my favorite pattern paper for the ornaments, but where they're so flat, I didn't want them to get lost in the pattern paper. So that's why I popped them up with additional foam adhesive squares there. Look how pretty and elegant that is. To dress this up even more, we are going to add a sentiment with a sentiment banner. And to do this, remember our ornaments are all popped up. We're going to attach that with foam adhesive on either side and just not put foam adhesive where it overlaps the ornament, and then dress it up with some gemstones. Next, this is probably the simplest card in the collection, and it uses this sticker that has a little dimensional mouse and a little dimensional star. Really cute. Again, I trimmed down some pattern paper pretty small. We're going to place that in the center. This is a pink pattern paper. It's beautiful. Really complements the pink stocking or mitten that the mouse and the greenery is all sticking out of. Playing around with different sentiments to add below. And I opted instead, I didn't think that banner went very good. So we're going to take a Merry Everything sticker strip and pop this up with foam adhesive right underneath the mitten. And then we're going to take two pre-made die cut greenery type images. So that little black or charcoal looking sprig up at the top. And then we're actually going to die cut another one. That's that green one that you see back behind. And we're going to tuck those kind of into or back behind our mitten to add a little bit more to this design. Really, really simple. And then we'll finish with a scattering of gemstones again here. I was really careful not to press down my sticker too hard until I had tucked those greenery pieces back behind. And it just fills it in a little bit more, gives it a little bit more height. And a great way to just customize a pre-made sticker. Just so easy to use and creates a darling little card. Next, we have another card that features quite a bit of custom die cutting. And this one is a different color combination from many in the kit. And I really pulled the colors for it from the pattern paper. So there's this beautiful, sparkly, twinkly sky looking pattern paper. And I decided to kind of pull out some creams and browns and silver and really go kind of elegant with this one. We're going to layer two of the flower pre-made die cuts, and I've popped up the large one and then just layered the smaller one right on top to give it a little dimension. And then I've die cut the greenery elements and the poinsettias and the small leaves from white cardstock and then that kind of brown cardstock and the silver foil cardstock included in the kit. In addition to that, we're going to die cut the sentiment Holiday Cheer from the silver foil cardstock and pop that in place. You can see I put the dies there kind of as my placeholder. I really thought that was the direction I was going to go, and so I'm just making sure that everything's going to have room. And we're just gluing all of these florals in place. And I love how beautifully the pre-mades work with these custom die cuts. A really fun look and dresses it up so beautifully. So let's go ahead and attach that to our card base. And I trimmed a lot of my backgrounds down a little bit more this month to give a wider white border. I don't know why, just kind of was feeling it, I guess, this time. But I really like the wide white border. Worked nice with the elements in this month's kit. I like to use the Spellbinders TOOL N ONE to pop out any little pieces. That's what I was popping out there in the words holiday and cheer. And then I started at the bottom because the word cheer can be pretty close to the florals. I know I want to add a sticker sentiment strip to this, and adding it right above holiday cheer is going to work great because I'm going to use merry and bright, and then it's going to say holiday cheer. This is, I believe, the only card that I created in the 10 cards that does not feature any gemstones. And I probably could have used them, but Again, they have a bluish tint to them, and I just felt like they didn't go with this card very well. This is also probably one of the only cards in the kit. Well, the next one doesn't really have blue on it either, but I did use some gems. But it has a different color, background color. It's the only one, and this card is the only one that I created that's completely different. It's more neutrals, has more of the tans, the ivory, those kind of colors, and I felt like the gemstones didn't match as well for it. We'll add just these few final finishing touches, tuck some little leaves in here and there, and this card is all finished as well. Next, I'm going to share another floral card, and this uses pre-mades, all pre-mades. So we're going to use 3 of these white flowers, all 4 green leaves that have some nice silver sparkle detail to them, and then the 2 silver sparkly sprigs. All of that's going to be kind of in the upper, I'd say 2/3 of the card, and then we're going to add a sticker phrase down below that says Season's Greetings, popped up with foam adhesive. And I'm simply layering these elements. 2 of the flowers are going to be popped up with foam adhesive. Everything else is glued directly to the card base. And this pattern paper, I think you can probably see it a little bit here in the shot, it's foiled. It's a foiled wood grain. How gorgeous is that? This is another one that definitely went a little more elegant. So it's got the foiling in the back in the pattern paper. It's got the glittering and things of the die cuts, and then a very simple, elegant little sticker phrase, and that's it. So pretty. Now this one I did opt to add a scattering of gemstones throughout, but you could leave those off if you wanted to. But the blue for in this instance, and probably because it's placed on the white background, I really liked it. I think it almost picks up a little bit of the green, and it works really well with everything else going on in this card. And I think that every single sticker phrase that I added to my cards this month, I added with foam adhesive strips. Look how pretty that looks. Now, here's what the difference that these gemstones make. Absolutely gorgeous, just like this. I'm going to add a scattering of all different sizes of these gemstones, and they dress up the design so much. They add sparkle, elegance, another elegant holiday card, all finished. The next card is one that I had planned. I actually pre-plan most of my cards when I'm creating with the card kit. I will lay out what I think I'm going to use together, meaning pattern paper, dies, or pre-made, stickers, things like that. This next card I had laid out originally, right off the bat, and I ended up not creating it till almost the end. And I think it's because I was a little overwhelmed. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to bring it all together. This pattern paper I'm using actually has a swan in the pattern paper. You could really use it just the pattern paper. It's so pretty. I trimmed it, and then with careful layering, I'm hiding the fact that you can see just a tiny bit of the swan in that bottom area. In fact, you can't see it at all once I do all the layering. But I couldn't figure out what I wanted to use with the swan. I knew I wanted to use this pattern paper. I knew I wanted to use this swan image. And other than that, no idea. And so I saved it. I just I played with most of the rest of the cards. I think this one was 3rd from last, actually, so it was number 8 in the lineup. And I decided to die cut a whole bunch of poinsettias and greenery and tuck them down around my swan. It already has a lot of beautiful florals and little greenery things tucked around it as is. It comes like that. But once I added these extra little pieces and the dimension they add, it just came together, and it ended up being one of my favorites from the kit. simply because I think it's beautiful and elegant. I love the phrase sticker. I purposely picked "May all your Christmas wishes come true." I just thought that was beautiful with this night sky. It just worked. That's all there is to it. It just worked. And we'll even use 3 of the pre-made star embellishments. And then we're going to finish the center of our die-cut poinsettias with gemstones. And we will even add some additional gemstones kind of on the stars and throughout that night sky to finish this beautiful card. This is another one that you could really create duplicates of. There are 2 of these swan images included. You could die cut all of these components twice. There are multiples of the "May all your Christmas wishes come true," or you could use something different if you wanted to. But you could create this exact card 2 times for sure, because you get 2 of that swan. And then adding the gemstones to the center of the poinsettias really worked beautifully. I love that little bit of blue sparkle that ties into the blue leaves that I die cut. Definitely non-traditional, but it really works here. And then I did so those little purple sprigs, remember our owl card from the very beginning of the video? I used those on that card, and I used my last one on this card. There's a pre-made one. You can kind of see it down there by the white flower that's part of the swan die cut. And I thought it would be kind of pretty reinforced and popped up there back behind some of the custom die cuts I created. My next card features this exact same background. Again, some kind of strategic trimming, but this is going to be a portrait style card instead of landscape, and it's going to feature that other reindeer. So I loved the trees and the reindeer, and I knew that all along I wanted to create multiple cards, but I just wanted to do something a little different than the first one. So this one's going to have the night sky with the reindeer kind of flying in the night sky, the trees down below, but it's got the pattern paper, it's got a white border down along the bottom edge, very much like the other card. Again, it's just portrait instead of landscape. We're going to use a different deer image. We're going to use the 3 trees. We're going to pop up 2 of them, glue 1 of them directly to the background. We're going to add some stars, and then we will add 2 sticker phrases popped up with foam adhesive, and we're going to add gemstones to the sky for additional sparkle and shine. But I love these reindeer. I think they're beautiful. I love that they're glittered, and I just really couldn't get enough of them. Super quick and easy. This was a very, very fast card design. Probably the most time-consuming part was adding foam adhesive squares and taking the backing paper off for my card. Kind of silly, but definitely foam adhesive is my go-to with these card kits. I love dimensional elements no matter what card I'm creating, but I have found that as I'm working with the Spellbinders kits, that I tend to gravitate towards foam adhesive elements on almost everything. And then we're going to combine Happy Holidays and then From Our Family to Yours, those 2 sticker phrases down below. You can see I played around with some of the banners and other die cut elements, and they just weren't quite working out. I wanted something a little bit smaller, again, just a little more streamlined and clean. And these sticker phrases are perfect. The font is perfect, and then they're just the right size. And we're just going to stack those one on top of another, just leaving a small little space in between. And then grab our craft knife, pick up our gemstones, and pop those throughout, as well as glue our stars in the sky. And I like to make sure that I'm using a combination of sizes. There were 2 sizes in the kit. I don't think I used all of the stars. I think there might have been 2 left. So you're getting quite a few of these sparkly silver stars in the die cuts shapes, which is awesome. And then grabbing our gemstones, and we're going to adorn all of the stars and then add that scattering throughout the sky. Our last card today is also going to be a super simple design that reinforces the repetition of die cut shapes. So one of the things that I love, and I know I've mentioned it many times, is that generally in the card kit of the month from Spellbinders, you're getting 2 each of die cut shapes. So I trimmed down my pattern paper and mounted it on silver foil cardstock. The pattern paper's 3 inches, the silver foil cardstock's 3.5. So just to strip down the center of our card base. But we're going to use both of these large snowflakes on this background, popping them up with foam adhesive. We're going to adorn them and embellish the snowflakes with gemstones from the kit. So a big gemstone in the center and then big gemstones kind of around, not each point, but each large point of the snowflake design. So lots of sparkle. But then right there in between the 2 snowflakes is the perfect little spot to attach one of those sentiment sticker strips with foam adhesive. And I opted to use Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star. And I thought that worked really lovely here. I think it's kind of the grayish background because there's 3 different sticker sentiment strip colors, kind of a purple, a grayish color, a grayish blue, and then black or charcoal. And it goes right in between these 2, looks beautiful, it's foiled, matches the foiling in the pattern paper, matches the foiling down each side, and then the gemstones really add that fantastic touch of sparkle to the snowflakes. So here I'm just going to pop all of those in place. So you can see how it looks without the gemstones, and then as I add them, look at how much that dresses up the card. Such a simple effect. You're out of gemstones, consider using maybe sequins from your stash, using Nuvo crystal drops to make your own little sparkly embellishments. There's lots and lots of options and ideas there. So let's take a final look at all 10 cards, starting with our purple Merry Christmas card that features lots of custom die cuts using the dies from the kit. This also features lots of dies, custom die cut, with pre-mades. Another one with custom dies and pre-mades together with the Swan card with those beautiful florals. Our Snowflakes card I just shared using pre-mades. Reindeer card flying through the sky up above there on that beautiful night sky. Our cute little mouse in his mitten. Elegant Christmas florals, ornaments on a beautiful green background and adorned with gemstones. A scene of a reindeer in the forest with trees. And our owl card. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this set of 10 cards featuring the Spellbinders October 2019 card kit of the month. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Spellbinders that you might be interested in. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.